The sun was dipping low over Manhattan, painting the skyscrapers gold and crimson. Yellow cabs honked impatiently, weaving in and out of lanes, and pedestrians rushed across crosswalks with the urgency that only New York could breed. Inside a sleek black Tesla, Ryan Carter gripped the wheel, his jaw tight. At just 29, he was already a known name on Wall Street. His family owned Carter Enterprises, a billion-dollar investment firm. His tailored navy suit fit like a second skin, and yet, behind the sharpness of his look, there was a hollowness in his eyes. As he slowed at a red light, he looked at the streets crowded with delivery men, college kids, single mothers with strollers. A life he had never lived. A life far removed from penthouses and business dinners. He sighed, pressing the accelerator as the light turned green. Despite his wealth, Ryan felt empty. Success had been his family's obsession, not his dream. Something was missing, but he didn't yet know what. As he turned down Lexington Avenue, Ryan noticed commotion near the sidewalk. A young woman stumbled, nearly falling as the grocery bags in her arms split open. Apples rolled across the concrete. A carton of milk burst, soaking the pavement. Emma Collins, 24, bent to her knees quickly, trying to scoop the mess before strangers stepped on it. Her long black hair was tied into a messy ponytail, her jeans faded, her simple T-shirt marked with a small tear at the sleeve. Her light brown skin glistened with sweat. She had clearly been running errands after a long shift. Ryan slowed the Tesla instinctively. He watched her, the way her hands shook, the way her face carried exhaustion yet determination. People passed her by, some annoyed, some indifferent. Her eyes darted nervously. She looked like someone used to being invisible. Ryan didn't think. He pulled the car to the curb, climbed out, and walked toward her. She looked up, startled. This well-dressed stranger kneeling on the dirty sidewalk to pick up apples beside. Their hands brushed as both reached for the same orange. Emma froze, her dark eyes wide. Ryan offered a small smile. "Let me help." His voice was calm, steady. She hesitated, then whispered, "Thank you." Her tone carried more than gratitude. It carried disbelief. For Ryan, it was just groceries. But for Emma, it was the first time someone had stopped, seen her, and cared. Later that day, Ryan learned she had twisted her ankle during the fall. Against her protests, he insisted on taking her to the nearby clinic. Now, she lay on a small hospital bed, an ice pack strapped around her ankle. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly. Ryan sat beside her, coffee in hand. "You didn't have to stay," Emma murmured, looking away. "I know," Ryan replied, "but I wanted to." She studied him for the first time. His watch alone could pay her rent for months. Why was someone like him here with someone like her? "You're different," she whispered almost to herself. Ryan chuckled softly, sipping his coffee. "People usually call me arrogant, not different." For the first time in years, Emma laughed. A short, genuine laugh that surprised them both. A week later, they met again. Ryan had insisted on checking in, and Emma finally agreed to meet at Central Park. They sat on a warm wooden bench. The skyline twinkled faintly beyond the trees. Emma wore a casual jacket borrowed from a thrift store. Her eyes darted as she spoke. "I grew up in foster homes," she confessed quietly. "My dad? He made mistakes. Went to prison when I was little. My mom died soon after. Since then, it's just been me." Ryan's gaze softened. No judgment, only empathy. "And yet, here you are, surviving. That's strength, Emma." She looked at him in disbelief. Most people looked at her with pity or disdain. He saw something else. Their connection grew quickly. One chilly evening, Ryan insisted they grab hot dogs from a street cart vendor. "Seriously? You eat street food?" Emma teased, raising an eyebrow. Ryan smirked. "I may wear a suit, but I'm still human." They stood shoulder to shoulder, steam rising from their food as they laughed at his awkward attempt to eat without spilling mustard. For Emma, it was the first time in years she felt light-hearted. For Ryan, it was the first time he felt free of expectations. But their happiness did not go unnoticed inside a luxurious Manhattan penthouse. Ryan's mother, Margaret Carter, stood tall in her pearl necklace and expensive silk dress. Her icy blue eyes pierced him as she spoke. "Ryan, people are talking. You've been seen with her. She has a name," Ryan snapped. "Emma." Margaret's lips tightened. "Do you know what it will do to our family's reputation if you continue this? You are set to marry Senator Whitmore's daughter. That is the match that matters." Ryan's jaw clenched. "Maybe what matters to you, Mother, not to me." For the first time, the perfect son challenged the woman who had built his world. The Carter family's dining room was a world of wealth. Crystal chandeliers, a long mahogany table that could seat 20 silverware polished to perfection. Ryan walked in, Emma on his arm. She wore a simple navy blue dress, nothing compared to the designer gowns around her. Yet she carried herself with quiet dignity. Margaret's eyes narrowed. Relatives whispered behind their napkins. The senator's daughter, Victoria Whitmore, sat across the table in a stunning gown, her smile brittle with rage. "So this is Emma," one uncle muttered. Emma forced a polite smile, her palms clammy under the table. She felt like prey in a den of lions. Ryan, however, kept his hand firmly on hers. "Yes, she's the woman I love." Gasps, forks paused mid-air. Margaret's pearl necklace glittered like armor as she stared daggers at him. Later that evening, when the dinner dispersed into tense chatter, Ryan's younger sister Lily found Emma standing alone near the balcony. Lily, just 22, wore a casual chic outfit. Nothing ostentatious, just genuine warmth. She reached out and hugged Emma tightly. "Don't mind them," Lily whispered. "They live in their bubble. But I see you, Emma. You make him happy, and that's enough for me." Emma blinked back tears, whispering, "Thank you." "I've never had a sister." Lily smiled. "Well, you do now." For the first time that night, Emma felt less alone. Inside the dining room, Victoria Whitmore sat with a wine glass, glaring across the room at Emma. Her red dress shimmered under the chandelier as her lips curled in disdain. "She doesn't belong here," she muttered. A cousin tried to calm her, but Victoria's envy burned. She had been promised Ryan, groomed for him since childhood. And now, this nobody threatened her position. Her painted smile returned, but her eyes were daggers. The next afternoon, Victoria visited Margaret Carter in the lavish Carter penthouse. The chandelier bathed them in golden light as she leaned closer, whispering like poison. "Do you know about her father? He was a criminal, a convicted felon. She grew up in foster care. That's who your son wants to marry." Margaret froze, her face pale. The teacup in her hand trembled. "You can't be serious." "I wouldn't lie," Victoria purred, feigning concern. "Do you want the Carter name dragged through mud?" Margaret's heart hardened. Whatever affection she might have had for Emma turned into fire. That night, Ryan returned home to find his mother waiting in the grand living room. Margaret's fury erupted. "You lied to me. That girl's father is a criminal. She comes from nothing. And you want to disgrace our family for her?" Ryan stood tall, his voice steady despite the storm. "Yes, I love her. Her past isn't her fault, and it doesn't define her future. You taught me to be strong, Mother. Now I'm using that strength to protect her." Margaret's hand shook as she pointed toward the door. "If you choose her, you lose us." Ryan's chest tightened, but he didn't flinch. Then so be it. Meanwhile, Emma sat alone at a quiet bus stop in Queens. The night was cold, the streetlight above her flickering. Her hands clutched an old, worn diary, her childhood journal from foster care. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, "Why did I ever think I could belong in his world?" Cars rushed past, indifferent. Her shoulders shook. She felt small, powerless, like the frightened little girl she once was. Ryan found her there, his expensive car parked carelessly nearby. He rushed to her side, kneeling in the cold. "Emma," he breathed, cupping her tear-stained face. "I can't do this," she sobbed. "Your family's right. I'll ruin your life." Ryan's eyes glistened. "Listen to me. You are my life. I don't care what they say. I don't care about money, or politics, or legacy. I care about you." Tears welled in both their eyes as his voice cracked. "I promise, Emma, I will fight for us. Always." She collapsed into his arms, the weight of her pain eased by the certainty of his love. The Carter penthouse was a battlefield. Relatives gathered in the grand living room, voices clashing. Some shouted about reputation and legacy. Others, more quietly, defended Ryan's right to choose love. Margaret stood firm. "He is throwing away everything for her." Lily countered sharply. "No, he's finally choosing happiness. Isn't that what matters?" Ryan entered, Emma behind him. The room fell silent. His voice carried authority. "This is my life. You raised me to lead, to be strong. That's what I'm doing now. If any of you can't accept Emma, then you don't accept me." The room buzzed with outrage, but for the first time, Emma saw Ryan stand unshaken. Her knight, against the storm of his own blood. A few weeks later, whispers spread beyond the Carter walls. In a suburban neighborhood church, townsfolk gossiped. Loudly, "That's the girl dating Carter's son? The orphan? I heard her father was a criminal. She doesn't belong with him." Emma walked hand in hand with Ryan, her head lowered in shame. But Ryan tightened his grip, lifting his chin proudly, as if daring anyone to challenge them. "Let them talk," he murmured. "We know the truth." Emma's eyes filled, but this time with strength instead of fear. Autumn painted Central Park. In gold, leaves fell like confetti as the crisp air carried laughter from children playing nearby. Ryan stopped beneath a massive oak tree, pulling Emma gently forward. "Emma, from the day I saw you on that sidewalk, my life changed. You taught me what love is, what courage is. And I never want to live without you." He knelt, pulling out a diamond ring that glittered in the fading sunlight. Emma gasped, her hands trembling, tears streaming. Yes, Ryan," she cried, her voice breaking with joy. As he slipped the ring onto her finger, golden leaves swirled around them. Nature itself celebrating. In a modest queen's apartment, Emma stood before a cracked mirror in a simple white gown. She wasn't draped in jewels or designer fabric, but she glowed. Lily, now her sister in every way that mattered, adjusted the veil. "You look beautiful," Lily whispered, tears in her eyes. Emma laughed nervously. "I feel like I might faint." "Good," Lily grinned. "That means it's real." For a girl who once thought she'd never belong anywhere, the moment felt like a miracle. The small church smelled of fresh flowers. Guests filled the pews, some teary-eyed, others still skeptical. Margaret sat stiff in the front row, arms crossed, lips pursed. But when the music began and Emma walked down the aisle, time seemed to freeze. Ryan's eyes never left hers. At the altar, their vows trembled with raw truth. "Emma, you found me when I was lost, and you gave me a home in your heart. Ryan, you are my future, Emma, my everything." When the priest pronounced them, husband and wife, Ryan kissed her with a passion that silenced every whisper in the room. Even Margaret's eyes shimmered, though she quickly looked away. Months later, in a quiet suburban garden, laughter filled the air. Emma sat under a large oak tree, surrounded by small foster kids, children who mirrored her own past. She taught them how to read, her voice warm, Her smile radiant. Ryan watched from the porch of their new home, pride swelling in his chest. He walked over, slipping his arms around her shoulders. "You're changing lives," he whispered. Emma looked up at him, eyes full of love. "We both are." The golden light of the setting sun wrapped them in warmth. A new family, not defined by blood or money, but by love and resilience. The camera panned back. A once orphan girl, now a wife, a mother to many, and a beacon of hope.